it's a mistake to maybe pull the plug on guys in year 3 going into year 4. Like we've seen the late developing quarterbacks. We've seen that now. That can happen. And he's in the back of his mind thinking, maybe Anthony just needs a little bit more time. But you know what? They're all out of time.
And that's the other thing,
They're all out of time this year.
Daniel Jones has to blow you away for you to sell to your locker room, because to me, you don't speak to the media. You speak to your locker room through the media, right? And so if I am one of those players on that team, if I'm Quentin Nelson, if I'm Cam Bynum that just came over from the Minnesota Vikings, we can't go back to Anthony Richardson. Because what you're telling me when you say we will not have a short leash is I believe Daniel Jones is so far in front of the next option that we're not even thinking about continuing to develop him to give him a chance at another point. So if we go back to Anthony Richardson, if Daniel Jones gets hurt, if Daniel Jones doesn't play well, I'm looking at Shane Steichen like you don't even want him.
I think that's the only way, RC, that he winds up getting back in there, is if Daniel Jones gets hurt. Or if it's so abysmal.
Yeah.
If it's so abysmal that he's like, that someone else steps in, which we know can happen, right? We know like people above can go, nah, we got to put Anthony back in. Remember now, this was a top 5 pick. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what
Louis,
you thought.
From your evaluation of Anthony Richardson on the outside, your evaluation as he was going into the draft, does he look like the type of guy, does he feel like the type of dude that gets better watching somebody else play?
Of course not.
Right, so how do you go back to him?
Of course not. Well, because, like I said, because the order comes down from above.
Or you lose.
Or you're just so abysmal. Fans are sitting there going, like, what the hell are we doing?
Need to do something.
Exactly, and you got to do it.
And they're not going to be that. This is not a terrible team.
You're right. I mean, they are right there. They're going to contend in the South. This is a pretty good football team.
The thing is, though, they felt like they were right there since Andrew Luck retired. That's why we've going through this litany of veteran quarterbacks.
But you know what? I mean, what has really been the thing that has held them back?
Quarterback.
I mean, enormously so.
You know what I'm saying?
We just showed you.
So, I mean, they are.
Like
they are right there.
They were in it last year. They were in contention later in the season.
They were 8-9 last year.
But they fell apart at the end, and a lot of it was the inconsistent play from Richardson. So the locker room knows that. I mean, they've seen the good and the bad, and they've lived it, and the consequences.
And look, I just want to say this in the end. Look, Anthony is not without responsibility.
Ton of it.
Okay? And he knows that, too. He has spoken to that, too. And look, this is a hell of a hard lesson for him to have to learn. This is going to be a tough season for him. It really is. He's going to have to do some serious soul searching about how do I perfect my process so I never have to feel this way again, because it's got to be brutal.
He has to take his professionalism up a level.
Right, no doubt.
And he has to become one of these players that we talk about some of the intangibles that have never been spoken about.
Good old football character.
He has to show a level of football character through being the backup that changes not only the mind of the coach, but the perception of him outside that building.
Right. I'm going to want to come back to this because there's a part of this story we have not gotten to yet. I mean, Chris Ballard talked about how sometimes quarterbacks will resurface later in their careers. Daniel Jones was the 6th pick in the draft once upon a time. He's not a player without talent. Is it inconceivable that he becomes the next guy that we say, wow, didn't know Daniel Jones still had that or ever had that in him, and suddenly this team has a surprise, really good year? I think stranger things than that have happened.
Yeah, Brock Purdy is among them.
Much stranger. So we'll take a break. We'll talk about that. We're talking about young quarterbacks at the beginning. Now we're going to get to a much older one next. Joe Flacco is the leading man in Cleveland. Does that mean we will never see Shador on the field? We'll tell you the point in the season where everything could change. Plus, are the Cowboys and Micah headed for a divorce? You'll hear the one aspect of this situation that has Louis Riddick most fired up. That's on the way. We're just getting started. You're watching Get Up on ESPN.
Cass to like poop, and he's just like, you just took a dump right on my desk if I do something bad. So he just be like, if I do something bad, he like, just go get the dump off my desk. And like, he makes us put it on his desk. He's like, that's what you just did to me. So I mean, if you do something bad, that's usually what he does.
So does he have like a poop emoji thing that you like actually put on your desk?
No, it's like, it looks like real poop. I wish I could go get it. It looks like you sit in your hand, it looks like poop.
So if you're watching film and there's a bad play, he'll grab it and put it on your desk?
He leaves it in his office. He go get the dump off. He's like, go get the dump off my office desk. And we hand it to him. He's like, he just throws it on his table. It's like, that's what you just did to me.
The line of questioning was fascinating to me, right?
So, was it emoji?
We don't follow up on almost anything in college sports anymore, but boy, we were all over this thing here.
You know why? Because the person asking the question was as confused as we are right now.
Yes.
Or weirdly intrigued by it.
Like it was. First off, why do we have a poop cast?
No one knows. No one knows.
I'm gonna ask Lenore.
Also, too, though, like, that's not in my NIL program. Y'all didn't say I was going to have to touch poop.
Hey, I'm going to be talking to Lenoris next week.
Yeah. I think we should
The questions are coming.
incorporate this. Like somebody has a bad show or a bad segment, like the next time we come back from break and you got
sitting in front like this.
We'll
like
come
this
up with
get-up
something.
glass.
Yeah.
It isn't
Put it
gonna
right
be
here.
that. Let's just move on. We apologize to everyone eating their breakfast this morning that we may have just ruined. In the meantime, let's get to Talk to Me. It's interesting people saying interesting things. A lot of conversation about the quarterback situation in Cleveland after Joe Flacco was named the starter. Head coach Kevin Stefanski stood by the decision yesterday. Coach, talk to me.
I thought he's done exactly what we've asked him to do, and I think we have a lot of confidence in him. We have a standard for that position regardless of who's in there. Practice, games, how we operate, what we believe in. We have a very, very high standard.
Dan, you want to take that one?
I mean, so I don't know exactly what Kevin's trying to say, but I think what Kevin is trying to say is, you know, the old coaching adage of if you don't practice, you don't play, right? The other guys on the depth chart have had injuries throughout camp, probably haven't been able to get enough practice reps to show what they get. And whereas Flacco has been, he's taken every rep he was scheduled to take. And I think that what Kevin is trying to say there is rooted in that idea of like I mean, it's easy to sit here. It's like it's the Cleveland Browns. What do you mean high standard quarterback, like the worst? But
I can hear your brain grinding.
Yeah. But I think that's the point of like he's trying to explain the decision to go with Flacco by saying, look, we've seen it, we know what he can do, and the others still have to get there.
Yeah. We knew that was coming. He was going to be the starter from before the whole thing started. Lewis, is the most important piece of this now seeing who the backup is?
Yeah, it probably.
One of these two rookies is going to get to play.
It has to play itself out. You just can't let that hang, in limbo forever. Because look, that guy understands he's one snap away. So you have to give him some reps. You have to give him some attention in the meeting room, on the practice field, and he can't just run cards all week long. He can't just be a scout team guy. So either that's going to be Dylan Gabriel getting that, Kenny Pickett getting that, or Shedeur getting that. So yeah, that has to be decided upon. I'm sure he already has.
Should we read a lot into it, whatever it is?
We shouldn't read a lot into who the backup quarterback is unless it's not one of the rookies. Let's say Kenny Pickett comes off of the injury reserve, or Kenny Pickett returns to practice, and now Kenny Pickett is second, and one of these rookie guys is the third emergency quarterback. Then that tells me what I'm starting to feel anyway, is that they don't see either of these guys as the future, that they aren't evaluating Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders as the franchise quarterback to take this team forward. Kevin Stefanski is the two-time Coach of the Year. Mike Tomlin, who we all revere and think is one of the greatest of this era, has never won Coach of the Year. That's how good this man has been in Cleveland. And he's trying to win football games. And I don't know if he looks at either of those rookie quarterbacks, one taken in the third round, one taken in the fifth round, as someone that can allow them to win football games this year. And I don't believe he sees this as I'm rebuilding. He sees this as if I win with a guy who I know exactly what I'm going to get from him, and what we saw exceedingly high play from in 2023 can allow me to get to the playoffs, allow me to contend, I keep my job.
See, I don't – look, I don't know if they have made that determination that either Dylan or Shedeur is a franchise quarterback or not. I don't think you can. I don't think you can at this point. I mean, they both have basically played one game. Right? I mean – and I understand, look, we are in a microwave society, and we have guys who make one throw, will throw one interception, and we say he's turnover prone, get his ass out of there. I don't think they're at that point. It is kind of striking to me when you put it in kind of real simplistic terms that he is a two-time Coach of the Year and Mike Tomlin has not won it at all. Yeah. I mean, that
says more about the award.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. That was just something that kind of like this.
But like Kevin Stefanski right now is thinking, so for us, right, for us, Shedeur Sanders was such a big story headed into the
Right,
draft, right?
right.
We all saw him as a first-round guy, or at the worst, a second-round guy, which said to us, we believe that he could be the starter for a franchise for a decade, right, for years to come. And so we're expecting to see that from Kevin Stefanski, to see that mindset, but he's thinking team over building individuals. Kevin Stefanski's thinking about his job. How do I do what's best for these 53 men to win football games? Not necessarily how do I do what's best to see if we need to draft a quarterback next year.
And the other thing to remember is Kenny Pickett is also a developmental prospect in their eyes, right? He's still young. They traded for him before they knew who they were going to take in the draft, before they had Flacco. So that's a guy they want to see more from, and that they
see,
think they can develop
this really speaks to the subjective nature of player evaluation,
Sure.
right? So you're talking about pre-draft, and I'm right there with you, that we thought that maybe Shedeur could be a guy who is a decades-long starter. I don't think that he has done anything to this point to really move me off of that evaluation. And he shouldn't have done anything to move Kevin Stefanski or anyone else off of that evaluation right now.
But they obviously didn't have that evaluation.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
And it seemed, for whatever reason, nobody did.
We're going to start. You know what? Look, we're going to go down a rabbit hole again on this conversation.
I like rabbit holes.
But you know what? We'll see.
It's bad for your lawn.
We'll see.
I'm up against the clock. We can go down that rabbit hole this morning. I have plenty of time to do it, and I'm very interested in seeing what comes out the other side of it, because Shedeur Sanders plays one preseason game, looks terrific, and then we never see him again. Strikes me as a sort of a strange way for this to end. Coming up, does Micah's situation with the Cowboys appear to be coming to an end? Is their season over before it even begins 2 weeks from tomorrow? You got to hear from Shefty, and you will.